Having the project idea, proving its feasibility, working out the technical designs and getting planning permission all present their difficulties. But it is securing the funding for your project that presents perhaps the hardest challenge.
That's because usually you have to persuade someone else, a bank or an investor or grant provider, to commit the funds they have to back your idea. In the case of banks and investors, you need to persuade them that you will be able to repay those funds over time with interest or dividends promptly and reliably. And for a bank, they will also need to be convinced that if you stopped repaying them, they could recover their loan in some other way. In much the same way they might repossess a home if the owner stopped paying the mortgage. The bank needs security for its loan, as well as a clear plan for repaying the debt. After all, it's not their own money the banks are lending. It belongs to their savers and depositors.
This makes financing doubly hard for renewable energy projects because their value is generally not in land and bricks and mortar and equipment. So they are much more difficult to treat as security for a bank loan, in a way that a building can be for a mortgage. The value of a renewable energy project is principally in the energy it produces and the income which can be generated from selling it over the project's lifetime. But, as we will see, there are ways this can potentially be addressed for larger community renewable energy projects. And there is a range of funding options and approaches available for all types and scale of renewable energy projects.
In the case of larger projects, you will not be able to borrow money from a bank for the full cost of the project, so you'll need to raise some funds from other sources, either from investors through a share issue of some sort, or from other fundraising efforts to get donations or grants, or most likely a combination of both. For many renewable energy projects at community scale, bank lending will be very difficult or impossible to obtain. So all of the project's funding will need to come from investors and donors.
Whatever the specific funding arrangement, it is very likely that you will need to establish a separate company which does nothing apart from own and operate each renewable energy project. Known as a Single Purpose Vehicle Company, or SPV, this helps to create a clean distinction between a particular project and other activities in the community. It allows investors and lenders to be absolutely sure what their money is doing and ensures that other activities in the community aren't at risk if the project doesn't work out financially.
Before we start looking at these different aspects of financing your project, you might want to take a deep breath. This is where the excitement of the idea of having a community-owned renewable energy project needs to be replaced, at least temporarily, by a clear-headed rationality and cold-hearted realism. It is no longer enough for it to be a good idea. It now has to be a good idea that other people think is a good investment, and their idea of good may not be the same as yours. But remember, lots of communities have succeeded in finding financial backing. We feature many of them on this resource. Good luck.